What's up, guys? Welcome back to the channel. As you can see, we are back in the garage today. So the STI has been having a couple little issues. I put the stock header back on there, and I noticed when I started it there was quite a bit of white smoke. Not a lot, but more than I'm comfortable with coming out of the muffler, out of the exhaust. So there's just kind of a big puff of white smoke when I revved it just a little bit. It kind of seemed to go away once the car got warm, but that was my first kind of concern. So I went out, drove the car a little bit. The tune seemed to be a little bit off, which was kind of strange considering the setup's the exact same as it was before. I felt like the turbo was taking a little bit longer to spool up than it used to. So I was thinking maybe I had exhaust leaks, you know, something like that. So I checked all the gaskets, checked everything. Everything looked good with the exhaust, but it just didn't feel the same. It didn't feel right. The car wasn't really acting the same. So with that smoke and stuff, I got up underneath the car and looked underneath the turbo, and you can see quite a bit of black burnt oil up underneath the center cartridge of the turbo. So I'm thinking that maybe the turbo is going bad. We might need to get that sent in for a rebuild. So my goal today is to get this turbo off of there, kind of do a little inspection, and then we might have to get it all wrapped up and sent out as soon as possible. Back to Force Performance, it is a FP Green. I was reading on their website, and the typical turbo rebuild from them is about $275, which I thought is a pretty good deal considering I would have basically a brand new turbo at that point. And this turbo did come with the car. I was told that it only had, I don't know, 5 miles on it or something, but if that is the case, the turbo was driven on a motor that had a lot of metal shavings in it, so the metal probably went through the turbo, and that did not help at all. Then the turbo sat for probably 4 or 5 years with the car, and then it got started up without any oil in it for I don't know how long, but it's definitely not good. So I think just the combination of a couple things, it's sitting for so long, the seals may have went bad, the metal in the oil, stuff like that. So we're gonna get that thing off of there and see what it looks like. So that is the goal for right now, at least, is to get that turbo off of there, get it all inspected, and then we also need to do an oil change in the WRX. So I'm gonna try and knock that out also. Let's go ahead. I already got the car jacked up, so we can go ahead and just get started. All right, so take a little look over here. I'm thinking we're gonna have to drain a little bit of coolant because we do have the coolant lines that run down to the AOS, which go to the turbo. So we're gonna have to drain a little bit of coolant first so we don't get that everywhere. Then I think we're just gonna need to take off this upper intercooler pipe, take off this intake, take off the downpipe down there, and the wastegate. I'm not sure what else. We're gonna have to maybe undo the vacuum lines, of course, and the turbo inlet down there where it goes into the turbo. It really shouldn't be that hard considering I did put everything together myself, so I kind of know where everything is, and I put all the clamps and everything in a way that I can get to them pretty simple. So all right, first thing we're gonna do is take off our intake here. Pop our oil separator hose. Unplug our intake air temperature sensor. Blow off valve recirculation hose. get this heat shield off of here. Should be pretty easy because I use the springs down here. I should just be able to pop it off. All right, we got that off there. Now we need to get these. I'm gonna take these lines off of this air oil separator. All right, now let's try and get these downpipe bolts off of there. All right, we got the wastegate unhooked. We can pull that out of here. There that is. All right, guys, so here's what we got. We got our wastegate out of there. We got our downpipe off. I took the air oil separator out of there just to make room to get these bolts out. It was a lot easier. We got the coolant lines off. So I think now I need to take our clamp off for the turbo inlet right here. And then we have a lower coolant line and the oil line. So we get those off of there, and then there's just the 3 bolts holding the turbo onto the up pipe. So let's get the rest of this stuff off of there and get this turbo off and see what she looks like. All right, so we got everything disconnected. We got our oil return line loosened. We got our coolant lines off of there. Everything's off. So I think now we just have the 3 bolts. The 3 nuts that hold the turbo on. There's 1. 2. See if I can try not to drop any of these. All right, guys, well, she's out of there. So now we just got a big old hole right there. So we'll come over here. You know, it doesn't really look too bad in there. I don't really know what I'm looking for though. There's not really, I don't think there's any shaft play at all. And you can look in there, you can see it hasn't been, let's see if we can focus here. It hasn't been rubbing or anything. So the part that had me concerned was this right here. You can see all this oil on the bottom here that's just been getting burnt. So it's obviously leaking in there a little bit. So overall, that wasn't too bad. It probably only took about 45 minutes, maybe an hour, to get it out of there, and that's with stopping to film and all that stuff. So I think that I'm gonna find a box and pack this thing up and send it out to Forest Performance. They do, for $100, they will break the turbo down, inspect it, and figure out exactly what needs to be replaced and what needs to be done, and then they will send me an estimate on how much that will cost, and I can either have them do it or I can just do it myself with all the parts. But I'll probably just have them put that $100 credit towards a rebuild and have them do it. So we're gonna see how that turns out. Hopefully it doesn't take too long so we can get this car back up and running. But there are quite a few things that I need to do in the meantime to the STI. I do have that new carpet that I need to get in there, so I'm gonna pull all the interior out soon. The seats, the center console, all that stuff, rip the old carpet out, put the new blue carpet back in there. And just a couple other random things. I need to do some work on the WRX, stuff like that. So I think right now I'm going to get the WRX up on jack stands, get the oil changed, and then that's probably gonna be it for today. Besides packaging up this turbo and getting that sent out. So let's get this oil changed in the WRX. Alright guys, so first thing I do when I change my oil is I like to get the cap off here. Since I do have this air oil separator on here, it kind of makes it a pain in the ass because you got to get all these lines off there before you can twist that off of it. But as long as it's kind of warm, they're pretty easy to get off. So we got those off there. Pop that off. All right. All right, so then we can move underneath here. So probably not many of you have this, but I still have I like to use these engine covers underneath here. So we gotta get that guy off of there. There's just 5 12mm bolts. And then I think I have 2 zip ties holding over here on the side. Look back there. Zip ties, get this guy out of here. Then we got our drain bolt here, it's a 17. See if we can get this off there without getting oil all over ourselves. Probably not though. All right, so I think that's drained pretty good. Got a little over 4 quarts out of there. Tighten this back up. You don't gotta get it super tight. I think it's like 30 pounds maybe. All right, now we got that tight, so we can get our oil filter off of here. I like to use these little wrenches to get these guys off. And this always makes a mess. So we got that drained. I like to just put a little bit of oil on the O-ring here. I don't ever put any oil inside the filter. I know everyone kind of does this stuff different, but I've never filled these things up before I put them on there. Get them on there, and you just pretty much want it hand tight. And I think that's all we got to do down here. So now we can put our engine cover back on there. And there we go. We got our drain plug back in there, we got our new oil filter on there, and we got our engine cover back on. Fits right in there. And here, this is what I've been using for this car. It's a Castrol Edge Full Synthetic 530. I've been using this since I got the car. It seems to work pretty good. I like it. And if you pick it up at Walmart, it's only, you know, $26 or something. If you go to parts stores, for some reason, it's twice as much. I don't really understand, but I think this stuff's like $50 at O'Reilly's and AutoZone, but Walmart always seems to have the best prices on oil. So we're just gonna throw about 4.5 back in there, and then we'll check the oil after we start it up and see where it's at, but that should be just about right. All right, we got the oil in there. Go ahead and screw our air oil separator back on there. All right, there we go. All right, I think we're done with our oil change. I'm gonna start the car up and back it off these little ramps here, let it run for a second, then we can check our oil, make sure it's good. And then I think we're done with it. All right, now we can check our oil. And we are right on the top mark right there at full. So we are good to go. All right, well, that's pretty much gonna do it for me today. I know this is kind of a short video, but I didn't really have too much I wanted to get done today. So we got our turbo pretty much ready to go. I just I put cardboard over all the ends of it and taped all that up, capped off all the water ports and the oil ports and all that stuff to get it ready for shipping. I'm probably gonna throw it in a bag and then wrap it in bubble wrap and then put a bunch of packing peanuts around it inside the box so that it doesn't get damaged on the way down there. So I'm probably gonna go do that today, get it sent out. We got our oil change done on the WRX. So I think that's probably gonna be it for today. I'm gonna kind of decide what I wanna do next. I do have some motor mounts that I would like to put in the WRX at some point, and then like I said, I also have the carpet that I need to install and all of that. So that's gonna do it for this video. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Go ahead and hit that like button, subscribe to my channel, and I will talk to you guys later.